Good day to each and everyone. I'm Kena Camora Redobla, and for today, I will discuss the Maxim of languages. Are you ready to listen? So let's start. Herbert Paul Gries was a British philosopher of language, whose work on meaning has influenced the philosophical study of semantics. He is known for his theory of implicature. Born on March 13, 1913 in Birmingham, United Kingdom. He proposed the Grice's maxim of conversation, the principles of effective communication. What do you mean by the word maxim? Maxim is a connection between what is said and what is meant. Grice's outlined four main maxims of conversation, which describe how people communicate when they want to make sure that they properly understood by others. The four main maxims are maxim of quantity, maxim of quality, maxim of relation, and maxim of manner. There are two maxims of quantity. First is make your contribution as informative as is required. Provide all the information which is necessary for the purpose of the current exchange. Don't leave out anything important. Second is do not make your contribution more informative than is required. Leave out any unnecessary details that aren't important to the current exchange. For example, based on the maxims of quantity, if someone asks you, "How do I get from here to the library?" your expected answer should contain enough information for them to understand how to get to the library, but no more information than that. Based on this, the following is generally a reasonable response. Keep walking straight until you reach the intersection and then turn right. Conversely, the following response lacks important information and therefore violates the first maxim of quantity. Make your contribution as informative as is required. Keep walking. On the other hand, the following response contains too much information and therefore violates the second maxim of quantity. Do not make your contribution more informative than is required. Keep walking straight ahead. There will be some nice flowers on your right and some lovely new trees that they just planted a few months ago on your left. Anyway, once you reach the big intersection, it's one of the biggest in the area. It took forever to build it. Then you need to turn to your light. In his book, Gries uses the following analogy to illustrate the importance of this maxim. If you are assisting me to mend the car, I expect your contribution to be neither more nor less than is required. If, for example, at a particular stage, I need 4 screws, I expect you to hand me 4 rather than 2 or 6. Maxims of quality: be truthful. There is one super maxim of quality. Try to make your contribution one that is true. Furthermore, based on this super maxim, there are 2 more specific maxims of quality, sometimes referred to as sub-maxims. Do not say what you believe to be false. Avoid stating information that you believe might be wrong, unless there is some compelling reason to do so. If you choose to include it, then provide a disclaimer that points your doubts regarding this information. Do not say that for which you lack evidence. Avoid including information that you can't back up with supporting evidence. If you do choose to include such information for some reason, provide a disclaimer that points out your doubts. In his book, Gries uses the following analogy to illustrate the importance of this maxim. I expect your contribution to be genuine and not spurious. If I need sugar as an ingredient in the cake you're assisting me to make, I do not expect you to hand me salt. If I need a spoon, I do not expect a trick spoon made of rubber. Maxim of relation: be relevant. There is one maxim of relation: be relevant. Make sure that all the information you provide is relevant to the current exchange. Omit irrelevant information. In his book, Gries uses the following analogy to illustrate the importance of this maxim. I expect a partner's contribution to be appropriate to the immediate needs of each stages of the transaction. If I am mixing ingredients for a cake, I do not expect to be handed good book or even an oven cloth. The maxim of manner: be clear. There is one super maxim of manner: be perspicuous or clear. There are various additional maxim of manners, sometimes referred to as sub-maxims. that are based on this super maxim. Greece lists 4 specific ones in his original work. First is avoid obscurity of expression, avoid ambiguity, be brief, be orderly. Avoid obscurity of expression. Avoid language which is difficult to understand, such as because it contains words that the listener doesn't know. Avoid ambiguity. Avoid ambiguous language which can be interpreted in multiple ways, and which therefore makes it difficult for your recipient to understand what exactly you're trying to say. Be brief. Provide information in a concise manner that allows your recipient to focus on the key details. Be orderly. Provide information in an order that makes sense and make it easy for your recipient to process it. Summary and conclusion. Phrases Maxim of conversation are a set of observations that describe how people communicate when they want to be properly understood by others. You can use this maxim as guiding principles to make your communication as effective as possible. The first maxim is be informative. Include as much information as is necessary for the purpose of current exchange and no more than that. The second maxim is be truthful. Include only information that you believe is true and that can be backed up with evidence. If you choose to include information that you're unsure about, provide an appropriate disclaimer regarding your uncertainty. The third maxim is be relevant. Include only information that is relevant to the current exchange. The fourth maxim is be clear. Avoid difficult to understand or ambiguous language and present information in a concise and well-ordered way that make it easy for your listener to figure out what you're trying to say.